All right. Hey, welcome back to the Go for CO channel. I'm going to start this thing a little bit different because I want you to understand the impact that this gentleman is going to have. Alan Stern, persona marketing, from marketing dependence to dominance in 3 easy steps. This guy is revolutionizing things, become a content machine using AI. So, Alan Stern, welcome to the Go for CO channel. How are you?
Man, I don't even know what to say after that big musical introduction. I definitely want to meet this Alan Stern guy. Let me tell you that.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, look, on the Go for CEO channel, we're learning from small to medium-sized business owners, CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs. And, I loved when I met you, just the story, the background that you had in the automotive space. And we knew some people of like-minded, interests. And, the way that you proceeded to share and give me value and just talking. And then the way that you brand people is just, I thought it was cool, man, and I'm super excited to have you on. And I think our community is really going to enjoy what you're going to share. So why don't we start a little bit with the story of persona marketing and how you started it? What was the idea? What were you doing? Were you in the business all the time? And I think I gave a clue of that you were in the automotive business. But share with us your ideation process there.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I even get started, just want to say genuinely appreciate the opportunity to be on Go for CEO podcast and to jam out with you for a little bit. So, like to wind the clock way back, before there was the person that you see today, there was the car salesman. Before there was the car salesman, there was the DJ in my teenage years. That's where my business journey actually started. So, if you really think about it, for the past 2 decades, my background has consisted of owning a DJ company, which I still actually do today, and selling cars. Completely unrelated fields. The one thing that they have in common, though, is personal branding and the fact that I had to learn how to make a big impact with my marketing without spending any money. Over the years of selling cars and running this DJ company, I found there was this completely underserved market. Basically, your independent sales reps, like your realtors, speakers, coaches, loan officers, anybody who has to be the face of the business, is usually too small for a marketing agency to work with. So, what I found is there's this huge underserved market that I can absolutely help by leveraging AI. So basically, what I do is I show small businesses and salespeople how to brand themselves using AI, and I teach basic graphic design skills so they can do it themselves.
Nate, and you know what? I mean, it's really cool that you also had the DJ background, which obviously is personality there. You gotta be someone that's entertaining, and then you did the automotive thing. And from what I remember, you shared the success that you had at high levels in that industry. So, were you working in both those, and then on top of it, had persona marketing kind of as an idea? How did you start to build this opportunity that you ended up, now making a full-fledged business?
Yeah, definitely. So it's interesting. I've truly had to be a lot of different people throughout my life. I've had to wear a lot of different hats. In my early teenage years when I started the DJ company, you know what, I fell into the trap that most creatives fall into. And that was I spent my time saying, I'm going to get so good at this skill that when somebody hears me, they're going to say, man, I got to book this guy. So that was the route that I took. My challenge was I had myself completely convinced that I didn't want to go out and network in schmooze with nightclub promoters to get gigs. I told myself when they hear me, they're going to say, I got to book this guy. The problem is nobody ever heard me because I never learned how to market myself. Fast forward a little bit, I get into the car business by accident. Here I am, 21 years old. I've dropped out of college, living at home rent free. So my dad had to have a pretty tough conversation with me that went something like this. You have a couple weeks to get a full-time job, otherwise you're going to need to find a new place to live. So I grew up playing Gran Turismo, which is a racing video game, if you're not familiar with it. And I worked a few sales jobs in Woodfield Mall. So I thought this would come easy. I sucked so bad at selling cars that I was almost let go multiple times within the first few months. But the beauty of that, man, is failure really, it's a gift because you get to collect all of the data in the process and figure out what doesn't work and just start again smarter next time. So I failed myself forward, eventually get good at sales, move into the luxury world in 2017, got served a slice of humble pie, and I realized something, and that is you can be great at sales, but it will also do you no good unless you learn how to market and create opportunities for you to sell. Learn the
Mhm.
ins and outs of marketing, started joining a bunch of different chamber of commerces and business associations, and said, hold on a second. There's this huge network of people that have no idea how to do this. And now because of AI, it's actually possible. Started doing speaking engagements on it. One turned into five, turned into 10, turned into 50, turned into 100, and was able to retire from the car dealership last year. So that is my life story. Wow, look at that. And that was less than 2 minutes.
Well, there's much more value than just the 2 minutes. So let's keep exploring. So, one of the things on the Go for CEO channel is we've had a lot of CEOs, founders of companies, kind of have that transitional period, right? And they're a little bit worried. They're like, I don't know if I'm going to make enough money at my business compared to where I'm at currently, either in a job or a C-suite position or what have you. So, what were some of those dynamics? Did you kind of put a financial goal? Did you put a certain amount of clients that you were engaging with? What were some of the strategies of you converting from intrapreneur, which you affectionately were, to an
Yep.
entrepreneur on your own?
Well, there's a few things. Sometimes in life, you get exactly what you want and you realize it's not what you want in the first place. In my case, success in the car business for me didn't look like making a ton of cash and wasting 60 to 80 hours a week at a dealership and being miserable. There's plenty of people that do that in the industry, and no disrespect to them, that might be great for them, just wasn't great for me. So success for me in the car business looked like working with repeat and referral business only on an appointment only basis and moving down to a part-time model. And I basically had that. And then I realized something, and that is how you make your money is every bit as important to how much money you make. You can spend all of this time working with somebody on a car and it becomes transactional, even though you don't want it to be transactional. Or what you can do is you can actually help a small business owner get from where you were to where you are now, pour into them with your skill set, make a difference in their life, and then you realize, man, this is way cooler than any car that I can sell. And I eventually created a course out of it, started doing business consulting, and then I realized that charged my batteries a lot more than selling cars. And eventually, I'm not going to say dwindled down the hours at the dealership, but started working a lot more on persona marketing, building that at the same time that I was selling cars. And eventually I was able to take the leap. And that day was March 31st of 24.
Awesome. Well, hey, look, I mean, that's a way to really make sure that you're independently looking at things in the right way, right? You're starting to strategize your business within the current entrepreneur side of things. And I loved it. I mean, I remember when you shared with me when we first met that you were kind of starting to dwindle down those hours and be very, very specific about who you met with at the dealership. And hey, I mean, you're not on a salary per se when you're a salesman at the auto place, right? You're kind of an independent contractor in some respects, and you set up yourself for success for that while also building this part. And obviously, you still have the DJ stuff, right? So really, really cool stuff. So hey, obviously you put some time into persona marketing and you started to brand and stuff for these. How did you start to, I guess, use the actual supply, right? Which is the materials, the service of your business, and start to think like, hey, oh, I can incorporate AI into helping me and stuff. So it was kind of a double strategy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so even winding the clock back, if you are in a commission only role, and again, this goes for realtors, this goes in my case for automotive, you have two options. Number one, you can be in the convincing business of trying to convince a complete stranger who does not know you, like you, or trust you to part with tens of thousands of dollars, which eventually you get burned out because it's the same thing. You are starting from scratch on repeat. You can take that route, or you can go the route that I did, and that is take the relationship business, the relationship route. So I decided to go and hit every single chamber of commerce that I could in the area and just position myself as the car guy on speed dial. So here's where a light bulb went off, is when I started doing speaking engagements. I realized I can go to a networking event and maybe meet 5 to 10 new people, or I can do a speaking engagement on a topic that benefited everybody in the room. In this case, it was how to market yourself without spending any money, and frame it as I learned this as a result of selling cars. By the way, call me if you ever need a new car. And now I've actually been able to kind of turn the thing into an entire infomercial without it being an infomercial. So it started like that, but here's where a light bulb went off. When people eventually started saying, "Alan, this is like cool, but do you have a course on this that I can buy, or can I like hire you as a consultant? So when the market tells you something that doesn't exist yet, it's a really good idea for you to create it. The first time like a major light bulb went off was in 2023, when at that point that was my biggest speaking engagement to date. I did a talk in front of 150 people, and I decided to do a low ticket offer. Now, for those of you who are like, hey, what do I sell? I would 100% recommend that you take this approach. And a light bulb went off truly the night before, and I said, I have 150 people that I'm going to be talking in front of. Why don't I make a low ticket offer? So all I did was I put one slide on my deck that said, Content Machine 3-day crash course. If you liked what I went over in this presentation, for 300 bucks, you'll have 3 1-hour calls with me, and I'm going to do this stuff with you. Mind you, there was no course that existed at this point. I put a QR code on it. I said, if you want it, 300 bucks, scan it. And by the end of the presentation, I looked at my Stripe account, which is a merchant processor. There were 15 people that bought it. I'm like, hold on a second. This was a free event, 300 times 15. Dude, this event just got really, really cool. And then a light bulb went off, and I said, now I really should create this thing that doesn't exist. So if you're wondering, like, hey, where do I start from step 0 to step 1? Make an offer and see who bites at it. And if nobody bites at it, no worries. You're in no worse shape than you were when you started.
I love that. I love that, right? Putting that leap of faith, and really cool that you had that idea and you took action, right? I mean, you could have had that idea, been a little bit worried. I don't know if this free event will be okay if I promote myself this way, right? All those types of doubts could have creeped up in your mind. You put it out there, you executed it, you put a QR code to it, and pretty darn cool in an hour to make 4,500 bucks like that, unexpectedly, and put your time to value. So really, really neat stuff. So look, you start persona marketing, starts to build some momentum. What were some of the ways that these individuals started saying to you, hey, I really love this? Was there any other things that they wanted you to do? You mentioned personal coaching, one-on-one. So what were the table of services that you started to put together?
It all actually started making memes, believe it or not. Like, true story, during COVID, I bought a course. It was like 40 bucks. And it was how you can take memes and turn them into advertisements. Now, crazy enough, once you get good at a meme, that's basic graphic design. All that you're doing is you're sourcing an image and you're putting text over it. But if you nail the messaging, now you're able to promote your business in an entertaining way. So
Mhm.
everything started when I started making memes of bad things that would happen when you buy a car without calling me first. And social media found it hilarious to the point where when I would go to these networking events, I would have people that I haven't met come up to me and say, dude, you're that guy from social media that makes these hilarious memes. Oh my God, I've been wanting to meet you. And I'm thinking, why isn't everybody doing this? So the first easy win that my clients started experiencing truly were making memes of how it feels when you don't do business with X, Y, or Z person. From there, the table of services evolved into taking text only reviews and turning them into graphics. So now something from like Google reviews or Yelp, which is text based over there, can be repurposed and turned into a graphic and now displayed across social media. So it eventually evolved into that. It evolved into the quote graphics. So you taking your headshot, putting it over a picture, and now you have useful tidbits of information that you turn into graphic design form. All of that evolved into, well, what do I say and how do I get ideas? Well, now enter AI. All you have to do is ask ChatGPT for ideas, and then you take those ideas, you make them your own, and you attach your branding to it, and now you're able to become a one-man content machine.
Interesting, interesting, right? And you're helping a lot of people that have this genuine need, right? You discovered this marketplace of opportunity, and you're implementing the right strategies for them. So, the combination of speaking is a big deal too. I really am curious if our audience can learn about, how did you get these gigs, right? So you said the Chamber of Commerce was one of the ways that you were invited to speak. What did that catapult into other speaking gigs inside of companies? What was some of the strategy of that?
Well, yeah, so it all actually started with a group called Engaging Speakers out in Schaumburg. Basically, it's a group on how you can speak your way to more business. Now, that could mean a bunch of different things to a bunch of different people. If you just want help nailing your 30-second elevator pitch, cool. They can help you with that. If you want to actually develop what they call a signature talk, which is a 30-minute talk on a value add topic, and then you position your business as the solution, they can help you with that. So at that point, when I was selling cars, here's really how all of this started, is the chapter director had bought a couple cars from me. And, when she took over that role, I told her, hey, you know what? You've supported me. I'd love to support you. What does a membership cost? Here's my card, bill me. So they close each one of these meetings out with a 30-minute keynote. And she offered me the opportunity. She's like, you know what? You have a background in car sales, you have a background in DJ. I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear from you. And at that point, I decided, you know what? Let's just try something new and see what happens. But what I found is documentation always beats conversation. And really, really hear me on this when you're listening to this. You can talk about how good you are, but most people don't believe you. If you actually demonstrate that you are doing something, in my case, I was in front of a room and I would always take a selfie of me with a crowd in the background. Now the positioning completely changes because I've demonstrated that I've done something. Now, one event gets put out onto the internet. You tag all of the people that were at that event that you know into it. It shows up everywhere. And somebody says, hey, Alan, you know what? I saw that you did an event here. I also have a networking group. We'd love to give you that opportunity. One turns into two, two turns into five, five turns into 10. And next thing you know, by accident, you've started a business as a speaker. And even if you're not looking to monetize it, it's truly the ultimate networking tool because we can only be in one place physically at a time. However, if you have a speaking engagement that you record, now you can turn it into a webinar. You can run it as an ad and you can be omnipresent. You can literally have a sales pitch recorded and you can put it in front of the right person. All you have to do is run it as an ad. So all of these little tips and tricks I learned not as a result of figuring it out myself, as a result of buying into masterminds, as a result of hiring coaches and people who have achieved what I sought out to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, proof's in the pudding, right? And then you have to invest. Think a lot of people go for CEO community is such a great insight of a nugget there that Alan put his money where his mouth was to put the time and the effort to learn something that was already, being able to kind of be in a group that had people that had a network to align yourself with the right people, shameless plug there of chapter 2 of my book, align yourself right with the right people. So neat stuff. So hey, look, this is a real business, right? Persona marketing. So let's get into some of the nitty gritty of what it takes to go from employee to solopreneur, and then obviously we'll grow into the business owner side, which you have now. Is what did you do? Did you look for trademarks? Persona marketing is a cool name. Did you think of that through ideation? Like, what were some of the ways that you kind of built the organization brand name? And then also, did you use funding? Did you just use capital, for your own bootstrapping? What were some of the dynamics of launching the business itself?
Yeah, it's 100% bootstrapped. As far as the launch phase in business, the most important person is the customer. The most powerful person is the one who can create that customer. So this idea truly blossomed when I got served a very, very, very powerful lesson back in 2017, and that is before people buy from a brand, they buy from a person who represents a brand. When I moved from a Chevy dealership in the North Shore to a Lexus dealership in the western suburbs, there was zero in common. New location, domestic to import, economy to luxury, everything about it was different. But there were actually several people actually the first month that reached out to me and said, hey, you know what? I saw that you just made the move. I actually need a car. However, I don't know anything about the Lexus product, but I enjoyed working with you, so I'd like to give you a shot. So all of this actually started me building my personal brand and my audience while I was selling cars. There's nothing malicious about it. I still have a great relationship with that dealership today. However, when you build the audience, now you just ask them, hey, what do you need help with? And from there, you come up with new product ideas. It started with that $300 crash course, which then moved into a $1,000 AI branding masterclass, which then moved into a $2,500 consulting package. And that is on the consulting side. How was the company formed? Again, before people buy from a brand, they buy from a person who represents a brand, which is why I named it persona marketing. As far as the brand colors, as far as the messaging, we're living in kind of a polarizing time right now where a lot of the world has adopted this, let's just say us versus them mindset, and a lot of people identify is either red or blue. But what is red plus blue? Purple. In the business world, what color does everybody see? Green. Purple and green are persona marketing's colors. And the whole idea is you don't
Huh.
build a business, you build people, and the people are the ones who build your business. But if you don't have people because you're a team of one, now we leverage AI is the best employee that's not on payroll. So all of those facets fall underneath persona marketing. And then the sister company, which is microsites, is truly the bridge between a basic digital business card that doesn't really do much and a very expensive website that has a whole bunch of stuff on it that most people will never read. So I bridge that gap with microsites for that independent sales rep that again has to either bootstrap or do everything themselves to be an actionable next step. So that's how
I
everything
love
started, is by building the audience and just listening to what they need and developing it.
You know, you continue to drop really, really strong nuggets, and I love the way that you're just making it simple to understand. So, Go for SEO community, think about this, right? If you're an employee and you want to build your brand within the company that you're at, and you have a sales role or you have a business development side of things, and you're marketing all that type of stuff, it is so true that you have to stand out within the other 5,000 people that do what you do, right? So it's been a big deal, right? In my commercial lending side, that's why I had a podcast and I've written a book, and it's just different because there's not the usual commercial banker out there that has a podcast and a book. So it's really an interesting way. And I learned so much even just meeting you at the networking event. So, all right, let's get into, staff and, progress of where you're going. What are some of the things that you've done to support yourself around it? Because obviously nobody can work 24 hours a day. But like you said, you have someone on staff that you don't even have done payroll, but they work so hard, the AI side. What are some other things that you're doing? Do you have a virtual assistant? Do you have maybe an outside bookkeeper? How are you managing some of the other parallels of your business from operations to marketing to payroll to, taxes, all that type of stuff?
Yeah, as of right now, I'm the sole employee in persona marketing. We're at the time of filming this, about a year and a half in, full self-employed. Granted, you know what, I incorporated the business while I was selling cars, but less than a year and a half ago was when I went full time. So as far as bringing staff on at this point, there's no payroll staff, but I do have other affiliates for microsites so that I'm not selling, fulfilling, doing QC, all of that. I do have a contractor and a designer that does all of that. So I bring in the business for there. They fulfill it. On the subject of standing out, though, do you mind if I give the audience today 4 stats just to really put into perspective how busy the world is?
Wait, is this heat?
This isn't heat yet. We're gonna get
Oh,
to
okay.
heat.
Not yet. All
But
right.
but
Go
but
ahead.
before I drop some heat, which I actually did get trademarked by the way on that subject.
Love it.
You know what? It's easy to say that we live in a really busy world right now and that there's a lot of noise. However, just saying that, it doesn't put anything into perspective. Here's 4 stats that everybody should know. Number one is the amount of time that we spend on a piece of content on social media. If you go and look this up, by the way, according to Facebook, that amount of time is 1.7 seconds on a piece of content from a mobile device. So the 2 second rule is a very, very real thing. All that we're doing is scanning, doom scrolling, doing this. So you have to be short, concise, and to the point. That's the first one. The second is the amount of advertisements that we see. 4 to 10,000 advertisements every single day we see. It is insane. The third is the amount of time that we spend on social media a day. This is where things get kind of disgusting, if I can be completely candid with you. Go and look this up. There were a few studies that were done on this. The average person spends roughly 2.5 hours a day on social media. Now, that may not seem like that much. Add that up over the course of a year. That's 864 hours, and that is 36 full days a year of our life we spend on social media. It's nuts. And the fourth is how addicted we are to our phones. We check our phones on average 205 times a day. So if you could be short, concise, to the point on social media, and you can zone in on a target market, you can actually make content that not only warms people up to you over time, but it attracts business. And that's what the H.E.A.T method is. And I'll touch on that at a later date. But for the people that are like, hey, how busy is the world today? I just wanted to share those stats.
Yeah, I mean, 1.7 seconds, that's pretty amazing. And yeah, 800 and something hours a year. It can be very alarming, especially if you have kids or you just start realizing when you look at the all the data on your own phone, like, hey, how much time did I actually spend? And you do a little research on yourself. Interesting stuff. But I guess it's changed from the newspaper, the magazine, right? The TV to this mobile device that has attracted us so much. So, all right. So, scaling, what's your vision right now of where persona marketing will be going over the next 6 to 18 months?
Yeah, so yeah, putting some finishing touches on the AI branding masterclass right now. The beauty about digital products, as far as scalability, it's one of the best that you can ask for. Because once
Mm,
the work is done, all that you're doing is you're packaging it in video format and you're charging access for it. So from a product standpoint, you can say, hey, if you want to learn this skill, and right now you don't have it, this is likely where you are at. And now I can cast a very vivid vision of what the difference will be in your life and your business as a result of module number 1, 2, 3, 4. So as far as the scalability goes, as soon as the AI branding masterclass is 100% done, that's going to be my biggest focus. So as far as microsites goes, that is where I have to bring on, maybe one or two other employees because we're developing assets. But in the asset space, there's other things that complement it. Now, what's really interesting, and this was an epiphany that hit me last year. I'm used to, especially in the automotive industry, I'm used to really only being able to sell one product. For example, if you came in and you bought a car for me last week, and I called you this week and say, "Hey, John, do you want to buy another car?" What is the likelihood of me getting anywhere with that? Pretty small. But when you're in the marketing world and you're helping people, now there's endless amounts of verticals. Marketing can mean 100 different things to 100 different people. And now the other facet of that is AI can also mean 100 different things to 100 different people. So everything for me, as far as scalability, falls underneath the personal branding segments and the do-it-yourself segments. If you need a site to help position you as a thought leader, great, I can help you with that. If you need a one sheet that positions you as a thought leader with your bio on it and a little blurb about your business, I can help you with that. On the consulting side, if you need help with a target market, the good news is AI can do all of that for you. You just need to learn how to ask the machine the right questions. I can help you with that, but we've narrowed it really down to 5 services at this point. That way, it's predictable.
I love it. I love it, man. You really built a really nice mechanism, and yeah, certainly, like when you build some content out there, it's evergreen. The paywall is a great strategy too, right? What's that enticing message that you first give them to want to break through that wall, pay you, and also be a part of that, so they could DIY or was it do it yourself, right? So DIY, those types of things. So, well, interesting. Part of the Go for CEO brand is also just learning the mindset, right? Assessing where you were and taking accountability. And now you took action at the latter part, right? With the DJing, you were actionable with the car branding side of things, and getting into chambers to start to build persona marketing. I love all that stuff. Now in the tools themselves, when you think about operations, what are some of the things that you're doing that I guess brings the client journey within that tool? So if you're talking about AI, if you're talking about scheduling, what are some of the ways that you're adapting in that space? Because Obviously, still building as a man, a show of one, but with all the tools, it makes it a little bit easier.
Here's the beauty of the world that we live in today is if you invest in some sort of CRM or tech stack, you can have a predictable buyer's journey. It all starts with a gift for me, which we refer to in the marketing space as a lead magnet. What is a lead magnet? It's something useful that you give out for free in exchange for a name, email address, and phone number. Why? Because before somebody will pay you with their money, they will pay you with their time. They
Hmm.
consume your content and invest their time into figuring out if you are the right fit to hire. So in my case, I have a few of those. It could be a free ebook, it could be a free recording of one of my workshops. Why do I give that away? Because now I've created an opportunity to maybe sell my $300 course or a microsites. So how do I do that? In speaking engagements, I always say, hey, here's a QR code if you want to take something home with you. And now I collect the name, email address, and phone number. So that's where somebody starts. They start when you're kind of in that stranger stage. Then, as far as the next predictable buyer's journey, once you have their name, email address, and phone number, now you can trigger what's called a drip campaign, a predictable email schedule that goes out once a week, twice a week, whatever cadence that you want to set, you can set that up through the majority of the CRMs. From there, the drip campaign or the nurture campaign, as some people call it, keeps you in front of them. Social media is a great mechanism to stay in front of people as well. That's why I say always add whoever you meet on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Yes, some people may say, well, you know what? I don't want people knowing all my business. Okay, cool. I get it. Just do LinkedIn if that's the case, because LinkedIn is a networking platform. When you're in front of people and you are top of mind, they gradually warm up to you. And then when they are ready, and keyword here, when they become open and receptive to the solution that your business offers, there's really not much selling. They've warmed up to you over time and you've positioned yourself as somebody who can actually help them out.
I love it. I love it. Well, Alan, you've dropped so many great gems. I can't wait for the shorts, man, that these 30, 60 seconds that you've been dropping are pretty much all gold. Again, since I met you, your style, the way that you bring the content, the value up front, it's pretty easy to see that you were successful in the DJing side. You brought a different type of approach in the automotive side, which we have a connection there. I sold my business, theautogenie.com, back in '09, and I can relate to you on the automotive side. And then now with this persona marketing, really bringing such great value to individuals that are their own business. I think it was I forgot what his name was, the rapper, but he's like, "Hey, I'm a businessman." So
Jay-Z. I'm
Jay
not a
Z, yeah, yeah.
businessman, I'm a business man. For
Man, exactly, exactly. And man or woman, ladies and gentlemen, Go for CEO channel. Alan Stern is ripping up this side of things and doing some big, big things. So the way we end our Go for CEO interviews is typically with CEO. So C is for client experience, E is for engagement, and O is for operational excellence. So let's wrap up with this value proposition of client experience. When they meet Alan Stern, when they do business with persona marketing, what is a 60-second value prop on client experience that someone goes with you?
I'll even shorten it down to 10 seconds. I will show you how to create a market of one by building your personal brand. Because here's the thing, this AI stuff is cool. But again, before people buy from a brand, they buy from a person who represents a brand. We all have access to the same tools, just not the same presence. So if you build your personal brand, you can take that with you should you ever deviate and go to a different industry or start a new venture because they are buying from you. So it's not you against the machine. I really want you to hear me on this. This AI stuff is cool, but it's not going to replace you. It's not you against the machine. It's you harnessing the power of the machine. You just need to learn what to ask it. So now you can buy back some of your time.
I love it. I love it. And engagement. I mean, obviously, a DJ, man, you've been playing that music, and you always said, like, hey, if they hear me, they'll love me. But engagement is a big deal for us on the Go for CEO channel. What are you doing with your vendors, with your clients? Are you doing client experience events? Like, what are some ways that you engage with your audience beyond the fact of what you produce and service and sell to them?
The biggest thing is introductions. You know what? I'm a huge networker myself, so anybody who attends networking events is usually there for the same reasons, to create new relationships and to grow their business. The challenge is most people usually only exhaust one or two different markets. So you have a bunch of people, in my case, that are in the western suburbs that don't really know anything from the anybody from the northwest suburbs. You have a whole bunch of city people that don't really know people from the burbs. So if you can be the guy who bridges that gap and really give that extra value add to your clients, not only are you going to stand out, but it shows that you're not a taker. It shows that you don't want a lopsided relationship and that you're genuinely trying to help out your clients. So that's personally what I'm doing right now. The client experience events are right around the corner.
I love it. I love it. So, and last one is operational excellence. You talked a little bit about obviously the harnessing the power of the right prompts for your AI, tool and adding the muscle of that technology and the speed and convenience of it. Are there any other things? Is there a certain CRM that you're using? Is there a certain software for the accounting side? How are you bringing in? You talked about Stripe even being processing. Any other tools from an operational side?
I'm using High Level right now as my CRM. That's where my courses are hosted. That's my email drip campaign software as well. For the microsites, I'm using a program called Phone Sites, which is probably the easiest website builder I've ever seen in my life. Huge fan of that payment processor. I'm using Stripe right now because it's simple and you can embed it into a whole bunch of things. But to go from step zero to step one, just remember there's no lack of resources in the world right now. There's a lack of resourcefulness. The majority of the stuff that you need to market your business, you can do for like 10 bucks a month or less. And that's on the high end side. A free account on Chat GPT will allow you to get ideas, and a free account on Canva will allow you to make some content that looks professional enough for you to stamp your branding on. It's all that you really need. As far as the memes, imageflip.com, that's where you go to get them. The largest database of memes on the internet. You can do it 2 minutes or less. And if you don't know what to say, just ask ChatGPT. That's literally your free business consultant.
I love it. I love, man, Alan, you've really flipped the script on persona marketing, right? The individual becoming the brand and making sure they get know, like, and trust upfront right away so that people can engage, right? I mean, we're all in e-commerce, right? We're all in commerce of life, capitalism, other things I love. And one of the reasons that I built the Go for CEO channel. So tell us a little bit about how to get a hold of you, how to engage with you, right, on social media, and what are maybe a couple of events that are coming up that people can come see you at?
Yeah, absolutely. So, easiest way to get in contact with me, my site with all of my social media handles on it is connectwithalanstern.com. ALANSTERN is the correct way to spell it. If you want, again, it all starts with a gift. If you want a free, again, no strings attached. If you want a free video of me doing one of my live workshops on the H.E.A.T method, going over how to use humor, education, adding value, and trust all in your marketing strategy so people warm up to you over time, just go to dropsomeheat.com. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. As far as microsites, if you're interested in that, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Just go to getamicrosite.com and all the info is over there. As far as upcoming events, I know we are filming this on Thursday, July 17th. In 1 week exactly from today, actually, no, 8 days from today, the 25th, I'll be doing a live workshop for the Wheaton Chamber of Commerce on what do you do with your headshots, which is pretty self-explanatory. Once you have your headshots, I will literally show you what to do with them without spending any money. Love for you to attend it if you're available.
Awesome, awesome. And you know what? You made me think of something. What did I do? I didn't get heat. Let's go. Hey,
How much
let's
time do
give
we
this
have?
a
I can really break this down and give your audience
no.
some
Let's do
gold.
the bonus side, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. Stay on this channel right now. Do not leave, but do subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber to the Go for CEO program. But hey, let's drop some heat. Let's
Let's
get that on.
absolutely drop some heat. So let's go over what this is. For starters, the H.E.A.T method is something that I came up with that will do two things. It will position you as a thought leader in your industry, but also as somebody who is approachable. Because even though you're a thought leader and you may be a trusted resource, if people don't feel comfortable reaching out to you, you're not going to get any inbound leads. So the psychology is by blending humor, education, adding value, and trust into your social media content strategy, you can literally meet somebody in person one time, connect with them on social media, and based off of what you post, they warm up to you over time. So the humor is actually not about being funny. Think of it like this. The reason why most people go on social media is so that they can be entertained, which means if they are there to be entertained and us as the business owner, we're there to sell and promote, massive disconnect. We bridge that gap through humor and we actually create a connection because we're meeting somebody where they're at. However, to give you a few stats right now, we're living in a time where the majority of the world is busy and stressed out. According to CNBC, this is actually 2025 data. 90% of Americans right now, when surveyed, say that finances are impacting their stress level. Quality of life, if you are used to a certain level and now inflation's slapping you hard, what do? You got to work harder or you got to work smarter, which then leads to workplace burnout. And according to SHRM, Society of Human Resource Management, 44% of people right now say that they are burned out. That's a huge number. What does humor have to do with that? If you make somebody laugh, they will remember what made them laugh. And in this case, that's you. That's how you stand out. So the idea with humor is not about being funny. It's to create a connection so that people are receptive. When they are receptive, you now blend education into your marketing so you can let them know how you can help them. Why? Because when you sell, you break rapport, but when you educate, you build it. You use education in your marketing. It's not your idea, it's not your will that you're imposing on your clients, it's their idea to do business with you. Completely different framing. When you use education in your marketing, you're no longer a salesperson. You're a resource. When you're a resource, people want to pick your brain. When they pick your brain, you've just now generated a lead, but you've done so by being able to solve a problem. So you put the humor and the education together. Your audience who just met you one time, they say, you know what? This person seems cool. I'd actually grab a beer with them. I may not need their service now, but if I did, I'd at least give them a shot. And the education says, you know what? This person actually knows what they're talking about. If you just do those two things, I promise you, you will notice a difference in your engagement online. Now, the third is actually, in my opinion, the most powerful because this is not only how you get free advertisement, this is literally how you stay top of mind without spending any money. And it is by adding value outside of business. Think of it like this. When you introduce something of value to somebody, they associate that value with you. In this case, I probably haven't met the majority of the people who are listening to this. So if you found value out of this and you learn something, in this case, the HEAT method, and you go and actually apply it and it gets you results, and somebody said, where did you learn that? What are you going to do? You are going to say, I learned that as a result of the Go for CEO podcast. And they had this guest speaker, Alan, who talked about this. So if you introduce something of value to somebody, that could be networking groups, documentary, credit card rewards, do-it-yourself hacks. That could be restaurants. That could be craft beer. That could be music. Whatever it is, you add value to their life outside of business. Anytime that they encounter that, they associate that with you. So the idea is it's not what you say, not even how you say it, it's how your audience feels when they're around you. And what you do when you focus in on adding value is people feel like you are looking out for them. And free value creates trust. People do business with those who they know, like, and trust. And if you do all of that, not only has that built trust, but you solidify that by collecting and repurposing reviews. Because nobody can sell you better than a satisfied customer. So you can essentially build your business without bragging. So you combine humor, education, adding value, and trust all in your marketing strategy. You can meet somebody in person one time, connect with them online, and they warm up to you over time. And if you want to learn how to do it, again, my free gift to you, go to dropsomeheat.com, fill out the form, let me know where to send it, and let me know how it works out for you.
Dropsomeheat.com, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. I love it. And look, my audience knows I love acronyms. H-E-A-T. Can you say it again? H-E-A-T. What is it again, Alan?
H-E-A-T, humor, education, adding value, and trust.
I had to say that about 2,000 times when I was on a social audio app called Clubhouse when I became John the Bomb, BOMB. Building others means business. I love it. So, really cool stuff. Thank you so much, Alan, for being on the Go for CEO channel. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll have Alan back on in the next 6 to 18 months. We'll figure out some times again to be able to share the journey of how he's grown. And, he'll be well into his third or fourth year at that time. And excited for you, Alan. Really appreciate the valuable nuggets. When you first met me, you were doing just what you say, which is you were adding value, adding value, adding value. And I was really impacted by that. So thank you. And thanks for being on the Go for CEO channel.
Appreciate the opportunity, man. Thank you so much.